Scott Hilton, Scott Talks. Let's talk about the future of streaming. What do I see as the future? Paramount's got to do a lot of hustling. Peacock's tons of hustling. Apple TV Plus got all the money in the world. They can do whatever they want. Same with Amazon Prime Video. They want to buy out Paramount and Peacock. And nothing to buy out in Peacock, but anyway. Sorry. You know, streaming things like DirecTV and Dish are going under. Boost Mobile's going under. You know, there's a lot of companies you begin looking at for your future of your devices. As technology changes, these businesses will change. Just a fact. Broadcast TV is really dying, and it did not make 100 years. Radio made longer, but now we've got internet radio like Spotify. Everyone's got Spotify. They actually pay for it. There's some free versions of Spotify. You can go on Spotify and get some free songs and just listen to music. You can do that. You can do that with Sling TV. Did you know that? They got free stuff. Some free stuff to just sit there and watch, but I would get Pluto TV or Tubi or the Roku channel instead. Those guys are free for now. And, you know, maybe Paramount will merge Pluto TV in there as long as they're getting a check, right, for those ads. It depends on that, you know, because people love Pluto TV, they love Tubi, and they love the Roku channel. And they're free cable-like experience. You can get news, sports highlights, a bit. I mean, YouTube's the king. Absolutely still, and beats the hell out of Netflix. More people watch YouTube for everything. News, sports, highlights. Why spend an hour on a sports show when you could just say, hey, how'd my team do? You know, just type it in there. But what was the game last night? Get 10 minutes of highlights somebody made for YouTube to get some recognition. And boom, you're done. You're done. You don't have to sit through the news. You want to know about the California wildfires, you just type it in and boom, you got stories from California to Europe just talking about the California wildfires or whatever you want to see, you know. Highlights all the time, as long as you want. You can look at the news, it'll tell you how long it's going to be on YouTube. YouTube is the definite future. According to Nielsen ratings, it's got better ratings, tons of better ratings. It's constantly gaining on broadcasting, cable, and all those guys. It just keeps growing and growing and growing. And the little Roku channel's done so well with Pluto TV and Tubi being up there. Roku channel's done great for Roku devices. You can find it on Fire devices from Amazon. You can't get it on Apple yet. And today is September 9th, Apple's new iPhone Day, 2025. Maybe they'll change today, hey? Or in a week or so. So we're adding the Roku channel. Really? Competition, whoa. Because, you know, Apple's got their box, Roku's got their box. And in the battle's on, we have both in our house. I use the Apple because I have an iPhone. And when you're on the Apple box, you're going for the search. You know, you have to search for those little A, B, C. You just start the search, and I mean, you could say it on Siri. There's a button on the side of the thing. You can say, "Hey," and it'll look for it, certain things. But you can also type it, and as you start typing, the keyboard pops up on your phone, and you can finish typing it there. Easy. With Roku, they have voice control too, and they have the typing thing. You can type. And if anything gets glitchy, I mean, if you've ever surfed and done stuff online, occasionally something will get glitchy, and you're like, man, maybe it needs an update. Maybe I need to unplug it for like 30 seconds and wait a minute or two and plug it back in. You know, maybe that'll help. Maybe I need to delete the app and reinstall the app and put my password in again, and all that. Or you just wait it out and hope for an update and go to the other device. That's what we do at our house. My wife holds that Roku. She's got a Samsung phone and she holds on to that Roku remote. But if I need to use it because something's wrong with the Apple or something's wrong with the Roku, she'll grab my Apple device and look for it on that device because we have most of the channels set up that way. I usually watch a lot of Apple TV Plus. We got great shows now on Apple TV Plus. We didn't have it for a long time. I got it for a year. Oh, yeah. As I question people on this Channel and tell people the best way to get stuff and tell you, you know, summer and winter is a good time for Apple TV Plus, and that's it. And here I am getting it for a year because there were so many shows we had missed out on, and there were so many good shows. We want to see Chief of War big time. New season of Invasion. I was like, oh man, Foundation new season. Oh man. I mean, I was just like, I got to see this stuff. And, you know, get it for the month and maybe dropping it by October. I was like, could be something else out there too. And we watched The Studio on Apple TV Plus. So good, so good. So Apple and Amazon can hang around if they want, or they'll just disappear if they feel like it. As long as the technology's there. I mean, Apple's trying to get you to wear those headphones, but they're too heavy and big right now. But today, we'll see if they get a light version and something more practical and, you know, a downsized version. They've got probably a new phone coming out, maybe the Air they're talking about, a real thin phone. It'll probably just be the SE, but we'll see. So Apple will be around forever. Samsung will be around forever until technology changes. I mean, phones are getting better and better from everybody. Everyone's doing, copying each other, and they're getting good. But the store, the Apple Store, is still a highlight for getting apps and good apps, safer apps that you can get on third parties. And Samsung's got the Google Play Store and stuff. And because technically Android is Google. And then Samsung puts its own little gift wrap around it. So Samsung's hugely popular. I mean, they're outselling Google's Pixel phones. But Google's always around, but as soon as they get in trouble with any product, they drop it. So if Pixel phones become a problem, hopefully they won't, because the Google Play Store is a pretty big deal, isn't it? I don't know. I don't look into it. But you'd want them to survive. You know what I mean? And they make great cameras on their phones. They're great. They're fantastic. And they got watches now and all that good stuff, and tablets. And so, future, I would say definitely Netflix is hanging around. YouTube is crushing everybody. I mean, if I want to watch something for 10 minutes, I'll watch something for 10 minutes and go to bed. You know, but shows, I mean, if I wanted something on Netflix for 15 minutes, it'd be Love, Death, and Robots. Very adult show, not for the kids. And with like video game graphic animation on a lot of stuff, or different kinds of animation. They're just all over the place with that show. And I noticed on the first season, popped up an episode with some live actors and just some computer-generated animation in the background. It was from a short story by John Scalzi, and I read one of Scalzi's book, got an audio book on it, because I'm a full disclosure, a little dyslexic, so I always do audiobooks. I'm not a big reader, and I found it more struggling to read and taking notes that way. It's always troublesome at school. So, and that's why I probably love streaming so much. Streaming services and TV and all that's always been a big blessing for me. Lots of entertainment. And Netflix doesn't disappoint, but occasionally we drop Netflix because the networks are coming out starting October. There'll be a few out in September, but you don't get it for September. We got Peacock, which is not going well, but when Black Friday rolls around, if they offer another deal, they had $20. $20 for a whole year. Of course I got it. Duh. If it's $30 this year, I'll still get it. You know, and we watch Poker Face, Day of the Jackal, had some great stuff on there. Great stuff. So Paramount's got Star Trek and all those great Taylor Sheridan shows. The guy that created Yellowstone and Yellowstone's own Peacock, because they bought the rights to Peacock to have a hit show. So, but of the 8 big streaming services, and I see Hulu merging with Disney Plus, waiting to see if Max drops off of just keeping that Discovery content and puts Discovery back in its own app and tries to muscle through with Max, HBO Max alone. I figure that's not super strong. It needs to merge with some other people, and then who's going to really survive? There's no rule that says streaming is the way to go. Streaming is the future. It is the future, but you have to make money at it, and they'll just keep adding commercials. You know, it's like going to the movie theater now. 8,000 trailers, 30 minutes of trailers and stuff, because they got to pay. They got to make some money. People don't go to the movie theater, and that's a dying thing. You know, I saw Superman and it wasn't crowded, I tell you that. It was not crowded at all. It had been a couple of weeks. But still, we went in the middle of the afternoon during a regular day. And, you know, we hadn't been in the movie theater since COVID. So, had seats that reclined. I was like, oh, this is kind of cool. You know, and we watched the movie and enjoyed it. Just thought it was good. But, you know, I think James Gunn will do a fine job as long as movies and TV are the way to go. And it's still around. It's still going to be a hot thing. But will television make it 100 years, or will some 3D holodeck technology take over, or will social media blast by everybody into its own little world? People, hello, another bike rider. There you go. See, I got my bike. Been shopping at the store. Got some apples and some yogurts. Very cool. Get some exercise, free gas. Out here before the rain's going to hit later today, about lunch, 1 o'clock here in Florida. No big deal. But yeah, that's my thoughts on the future. I think Netflix has still got a good future. They're the only ones really making some money. HBO Max is making some money, supposedly. So I'm like, well, then why would they drop off Discovery content? I mean, it makes it look like they've got tons of stuff. But they might keep it. You know, we'll wait and see. Got the new Lantern show coming out. Can't wait for that one. I'll cheat on that like I do House of the Dragon. You know, House of the Dragon premiered. Good. I'll get it right away, or I'll wait a couple of weeks, get a few spoilers on YouTube, and then catch it for the last month or so. And then save. I only have to get HBO Max for a month. That's the trick. And that bankrupts those guys. They don't like that at all. You know, when they put Wednesday out, the new season of Wednesday on Netflix this time, they did it on a Wednesday, 4 episodes, and then they waited 4 Wednesdays for the next 4 episodes. So technically you could, if you're in the groove of watching one show a week, like the old cable and broadcast days, and you're just used to that instead of binge watching everything right away and then going, I ain't got nothing to watch. Well, this way you got something to watch. You always pick your shows and carefully watch them, and keep track of it. And your app will usually keep track of it for you, but I write it down on my phone on the Notes app, just in case. I've got the, like if I'd seen season 2 of Wednesday, I'd write, and episode 3, I'd write 203 and the date. And then when it comes time, you know, if I had to drop Netflix for some reason and got back to it 6 months later, and for some reason it didn't remember where I was, I would know I did season 2, episode 3, and I could kind of figure it out from that. I'd check it and say, yeah, I did watch that. So, okay, so I'll start with 4, episode 4. It's easy. You know, if you ever got screwed over by that, like I have once or twice, you have to really dig around to figure out where you are. And always write it down before the show starts, because I'll forget by the end of the show. I won't even think about it. So that's my system. But yeah, Apple TV has got some powerful shows, great shows. Not the giant catalog. You don't need it. You can get it for the summer and winter seasons and then go back to it. Same thing with Amazon, same thing with HBO Max, and same thing with Netflix. If you get to a point where you get Netflix, and then you got your ABC is Hulu, and Fox is Hulu, and you got Peacock is NBC, and Paramount Plus is CBS. So you can get them that way, and then you always get Disney with Hulu. Disney's going to merge with Hulu, and I finally found General Hospital. We had it with Verizon, so we had Disney free, and then they dropped us. They got rid of that plan where you get free Disney, and it had Hulu built in and ESPN built in. So we lost that for months, and we finally went back, and I told my wife, you know, we couldn't find General Hospital on the Hulu app that was inside Disney Plus. So this time we got it, and it said to go to the Hulu. I did Disney Plus, signed up. It said to transfer over to Hulu to confirm you're getting both. Went over to Hulu, same password, same email on Disney Parks, Disney, all Disney stuff. Disney, Hulu, and ESPN. You get the same ones. Don't sweat that. They encourage it. So I'm putting it in, and logs me in. I got Hulu, I got ESPN, check the Hulu app. It opens right up. It says, hey, Scott, I'm like, great. Do the Disney Plus thing. Says the same thing, Scott, okay. And I checked for General Hospital one more time under Disney Plus and Hulu, and it was not there. Then I went under the Hulu app, checked it, there it was. And it was it was the weekend, so the episode Friday was right there for my wife to watch if she wanted it. She was like, really? I said, yeah, we got Hulu and definitely have Hulu and Disney. I don't know why they're under some kind of contract. They can't get it mixed together. But because you got more Hulu stuff on the Hulu app probably than you can access through Disney Plus. They got to cut back a little bit. And all the apps are cutting back on seasons. Like I want 12 seasons, so I'm going to watch all 12 seasons, every episode. Everyone's cut back on that crap. You might have it, and you might not have it. That's potluck. And I would imagine if you're looking for Discovery content, you'd have a better chance if you had Discovery Plus app separate to get something like that and hope for the best. Or you might have one episode in season 3 and one episode in season 4, and you'll be like, oh, yeah. And then they might skip season 5, and you're like, really? Because they can't afford that. I mean, they have to pay producers and different people, the writers and stars, and a lot of them have deals where every time it's aired, they get a check. And they're like, well, I ain't giving all these people these checks. So they cut back on the episodes. They get the recent stuff to get you in and hooked and recent. And that's how we caught up on NCIS on Paramount Plus. We just did the last season. As the new season started, we just wrapped up the last episode or two and then started the new season, and we were caught up. And we've been keeping up since then with the NCIS Origins. So there's a lot of network stuff in October and November. You can drop it in December and January, depending on, you can check your Just Watch app or your IMDb Internet Movie Database app or Next Episode app or something, and check or Google it and see what the schedule is going to be. It's a little early to find out what's going on in January and all those times and late winter. But right now you can figure out when your shows are starting. I think some of the Fox shows are actually starting mid-September. One or two of those are starting to pop their little heads up. But definitely October, so popping up. So look for that. And then you can check out, I think October we might have High Potential starting again, 911 and things like that. So just check that, and that's when you'll know to subscribe. And then you can drop it when it comes close to December, or you can check, you say, well, are they going to have some December episodes? Might have one, okay. Or they might have 3 right before Christmas. So they might drag it on and then not have anything through January and February. Each network's going to be different. And ABC, and even though ABC and FX or Fox are on Hulu, they could be different. So, but always bundle your Disney and your Hulu, because they're going to be bundled. It's only an extra $1 to bundle them both. I mean, that's just no brainer, because Disney's got some excellent content. And if you're going to skip, you can watch all your Marvel, Star Wars stuff on Disney. And Disney movies come out. Lilo and Stitch is out now. Thunderbolts is out now. And I was like, I guess it's time to try it out. And we've already watched Lilo and Stitch. We got Thunderbolts to go. So that's pretty much my future run. I think HBO Max has got to fight still a little bit. I think Netflix is going to hang in there for years to come until technology changes or the kids these days just say, I don't watch that. I don't do that. I do this. And you're like, really? Huh. Okay. Watch the kids. What is there for entertainment besides social media, back and forth with each other and having a fun time, talking and playing games? Games are a big competition, huge competition for the eyeballs. That's what it is. It's getting you to watch. Sports is super popular. The only way to pay for these $80 TV services like YouTube TV that is expensive, but it has a lot of sports. And now Fox One's come out with its sports, and it's ESPN Ultimate is on now. You can pay extra and get Ultimate ESPN, which is kind of like getting all the cable channels and getting there, adding some sports to it. Sports is the way to go, and they say once that happens, if it weren't for apartments and neighborhoods with those contracts with the cable company that says, hey, we'll force everybody to have cable. You know, a lot of them are dropping that. They're going on internet only because it costs money, and they're like, you know, we can save money, and then they don't give you a break on your HOA fee. You know, forget that. They'll say they added something else for you. Or they're trimming the bushes twice a day. They'll say something, but they won't give you a break. So that's the future. You look at the kids. What are they doing? Are they going to be there for Netflix in the future? Maybe. They like Netflix. Kids like Netflix. They got one streaming thing to watch. They're probably all over Netflix and barely on Pluto TV. I met a lady at the doctor that she says, oh yeah, she watched Pluto, I think it was Pluto TV or Tubi. Perry Mason, the old black and white show. And she said, I watch Perry Mason every night before going to bed. And I said, really? That's good. Good for you. Good for you. You know, and she was a real nice little lady. And she was watching some show on her phone while we were waiting at the doctor. And I was like, cool. That's neat. And it's free. You just watch commercials. It's like cable, Pluto TV, Roku channel. And there are others. There are others that got some older stuff. But see, Pluto TV is owned by Paramount, so you're going to get more Star Trek stuff, and Paramount CBS stuff might be on there. And I think Fox owns Tubi, and they even showed the Super Bowl on Tubi because they had the Super Bowl on Fox and commercials, and they were like, we'll even show the Super Bowl on Tubi. And that became a big thing. So they've got that. Roku channel has its own little thing with some original shows. And there are one or two others out there like Zumo Play. I can't remember who owns them. But Plex, a lot of people with stuff on their computer, they like to beam over to their streaming player. They'll use Plex to do that. So the future I see is the same old cable deals. Prices are going to go up. Ads are the way to go. Even Apple TV Plus, which does not have ads yet, which is another bonus. I love Apple TV Plus because it doesn't have ads. And we got Paramount Plus with no ads. That was because it's our guilty pleasure. All the best shows, the number one network is CBS. Number two network is ABC, and then there's NBC down there somewhere. So, and CBS is Paramount, and Star Trek's Paramount. Taylor Sheridan shows Paramount. But there was just too much on there. And then at the time, they were not giving you Showtime shows unless you paid extra. Now they're throwing some of the Showtime shows on Paramount Plus and saving some of the others and some extra content for the ad-free premium service. But we've got the ad-free premium because it's CBS, and we could watch show after show without ads. And right before bed, you can still go to YouTube and watch 10 minutes or something, 15 minutes. You check on the news, and then we'll check the news on Haystack News. Haystack News is our go-to app for news. And in the settings, you can help set up different news channels you like. So that's a strong contender, but I don't see Haystack. I see people getting used to looking at news on YouTube because you can look at any story you want, any town you want. You can find clips from your local stations. And when local stations finally go belly up, there'll be national broadcast illusion of local stations done. I mean, that's what they were going to do with the Weather Channel. They were going to get rid of all their little news things and just pretend they had local and use computers and AI and different things. And people protested it, and they were like, oh no, we're not going to do it. No, we're not going to do it. They probably had some problems because businesses do what they want to do. Well, they have to streamline it more to make it even better. Or they'd have to hire a lot of people to, fill in and say, hey, I'm so-and-so from Sacramento, and this is the weather today, But they could do that all day, 8-hour day. You get a bunch of people to take their turns, and hey, I'm so-and-so from the Midwest, and here's Central Florida. That's where I'd be. All I had to do was say Central Florida or Northern Florida. You do it in bulk, or the state of Florida, and just boom, boom, boom. But see, you want it quick, so you can do Central Florida quicker, Northern Florida, Southern Florida, and you're done, or the Panhandle of Florida. And there aren't as many people that live in the Panhandle, so it doesn't affect a lot. You just do Northern and call it a day, make them watch, whatever. But you see what I mean? That's the future. AI is going to be the future. There's already an AI company getting ready to put out a cheaper animated movie that they could do regular. And they wrote it themselves. They've got their own animation department they're working on it with. They're getting it done in less time than a regular animated movie, less money. They're just getting ready to hire voice actors, I've heard. And if this is any kind of hit, which it probably will be, it'll make enough to make a profit. And they'll be like, there you go. And then Disney will be like, ugh. And all the animators will be like, ugh. And, it's getting there. It's getting tough. But maybe before I die, I'll see a Humphrey Bogart in Star Wars. Who knows? Recreate these great actors with AI and either pay their families or say, hey, they're out of the copyright law or something, That's probably the future. Cheap production with AI, cheap voiceover, cheap animation, instant stories. I mean, you can ask AI to write you a story on anything and write you music. That's on YouTube right now. You can ask for a song by an AI-generated artist. The picture of the artist looks perfectly real. You can make up a name, a background, and you're like, oh yeah, she sounds real folksy. Yeah, I like that song. Wow, that's a great song. They just made up the song and then had her sing it. AI. It's going to be tough. I want a song by some girl that's younger than Taylor Swift, but going to be hotter than Taylor Swift. And boom, and throw in a little Beyonce, and throw in a little bit of the, Carrie Underwood's, and make her a little country, and do this or do that, or you just anything you want. And all of a sudden, you've got all these great artists, great songs, and you're listening to great music, and you don't even, and people are going to protest a little bit, but in the future, they just want to listen to something, and that's what it's going to be. They're going to watch something, they're going to listen to something. It might be AI generated, and the goal of being an actor or actress is going to be harder and harder to do that. Right now they could still use people to recreate stuff, to create the illusion of people. I mean, there's a company that did that Star Trek thing where it looked like Leonard Nimoy was there at Kirk's grave on that planet, and then Kirk got reincarnated, and an actor used body makeup and AI, and they just made it look just like him, and he acted like him. He had to do the motions. He had to study William Shatner and figure out the motions and the expressions and create that over and over until they got it just right. So it's still almost there. And we saw Princess Leia in Rogue One, young Princess Leia, and everyone recognized her. I mean, you could kind of tell it wasn't quite there, but it was there. And you're like, oh, suck. That's very good. And so that's the future. AI, and Netflix will jump all over it. They get a hold of some of that AI animation, they're going to be all over it. And anime companies will be doing, those in the style of so-and-so. And they'll hire some people to do the style and create things and touch things up. But there'll be fewer and fewer people. And it's just going to be create a story. Boom, here's your story. Create a song. Oh, we want to, something that would Huntrix. It sounded like Huntrix because we're demon hunting for K-pop vampires. And you saw that on Netflix. That was a hit. K-pop demon hunters. There's a white guy again. Yeah. So I think AI is going to be the secret future that people will protest, people will complain, and it'll go way of the dodo. It'll go the way of the newspaper, and the, NPR and PBS are going to have a hard time under Trump administration and not getting the money. And a lot of those stations are going to go under, and people are just going to, we've already got content to educate kids, and we can use reruns of Sesame Street and give them a little education, and somebody can do something else, and that'll be it. And, and a lot of it's free on YouTube anyway. Felt something behind my back. It was nothing. So, you guys like, share, and subscribe if you learned anything. If you're worried about AI, there's nothing you can do. You can secretly sit back and enjoy it, but there's nothing you can do for the artists and the different people out there in the future. And will the kids respond? Just music is music, and this is a great song, and they're listening to fake AI song, and whether they're required by law to put a little disclaimer like, this is AI generated, this is not a real person. They're like, oh, okay, good song. That's all it'll be. And on Netflix, they might have to put a little disclaimer. Maybe they'll put a law that says, hey, we'll put a disclaimer. And Netflix says, okay, you can put your disclaimer, but we're still showing this movie with young Eddie Murphy and W.C. Fields and this great comedy. And the Marx Brothers are going to be there, and the Three Stooges, and all these other great people. And it'll be a bit of a love story. We'll have Clark Gable again, and the bad guy will be Bogart, and all these different things, And they'll recreate this and that, have a dance scene where John Travolta and Fred Astaire go up against each other, and you're just like, and they have top female dancers in the world, and then they create a new female dancer out of AI that doesn't even exist, and she would tear them all up, and that would be it. So like, share, and subscribe again if you've learned anything. And what do you think about AI? And we're going to look at our little water fountain here on the way home. Isn't that nice? Tranquil, beautiful, and real. It's not AI, not yet.